You're quite close to the limit of traction. The front, on the other hand, becomes very light. So keep those hands straight because the steering wheel is not going to help you too much in that moment anyways. You're coming into a corner, the opposite effect's going to happen. You're going to get on the brakes, front traction, you're going to get more front grip, give more front grip, that's going to help you turn into the corner. At track experience, for example, we're going to use that trail braking method that we're going to use from the brakes to help you turn in. If you turn in perfectly balanced, the outside tire is going to have more weight. You're not accelerating or braking, you're actually going to have quite a bit of steering input. So a lot of the time, maximum steering grip, mid-corner, lateral grip, the car will have the ability to stay nice and balanced. And same thing goes, obviously turning the other direction, the weight goes to the outside tires. When you start accelerating, the weight will go to the rear. You can see momentarily, when you get on the throttle, you're asking two things from the tire. If you're smooth on the accelerator, you have lots of weight over the rear, you can really roll onto it, and you should be able to get out of the corner no problem. You're braking and turning, that's when you're going to have the maximum amount of front grip. So that's going to help the car turn in. And of course, when it comes to drifting on the ice, we're going to use that turn-in grip to help us slide the rear axle. So here in a hypothetical track situation, maximum amount of grip, braking on the front, the car will have lots of turn-in grip. The front tires can have a load of grip. Here we're just showing how basically that circle remains exactly the same. The circle is always the circle. The only thing that changes depending on the condition is the size of it. So in asphalt, we have a nice big circle. The rain, we're going to make it smaller, and in the snow and ice, it's just going to become smaller and smaller. One exception to the rule is if it's hydroplaning. When you're hydroplaning, you have zero traction, and the reason is that you're basically not hitting anything. The tire is quite literally floating on top of the surface, and if that happens, you really do have no grip available. You can see here, nice little animation showing you that basically you're in trouble. The reason why we always say if ever you're hydroplaning on the highway, the best thing to do is just slow down so that you can. So turning in here, we're on the brakes. You can see front axle. You increase the brake pressure, the more weight goes to the front. So you saw that big friction circle. That was your lift, turn, brake in action right there. Coming up now, we're going to do our rally flick. So we're going to swing the car to the right. We're going to start a pendulum effect. You're on the limit of traction, and the weight transfer is going to be much more exaggerated on the second time. And by exaggerating that weight transfer, we're going to get larger angle sooner in the corner. As soon as you start the back end rotating, you can try and maintain the drift to the corner. We'll get back to the drift maintenance here in a second.
When you set that up for the Scandinavian flip, should you get your braking done beforehand?
So it's going to depend on the corner, if I'm being completely honest, but if you're going to do it like properly, you should basically be braking in a straight line, holding the brake, 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 all the way until you've got your angle. That's much more difficult to do because you have to have the perfect speed to do that. But you, at the very least, you need to start the first swing to the right with the braking, because that first swing to the right ends up being like your braking exercise, right? So you still need to break traction initially with the brakes, and then if you feel as though you've slowed down too much, you can release the brake for the second part of it. But in an ideal situation, you're actually going to hold the brake all the way until you're transferring over to the throttle, okay? So,